Hey, this is your friend David, and welcome to the Dreamers and Doers podcast. Now, I am super excited because this is our very first episode ever. And if you're watching, please welcome. Feel like you're welcome. And today, it's pretty much just going to be going through who we are, why I'm here, why am I even doing this, and what the future holds. And let's talk a little bit about ImagineX, because who is this guy and what is ImagineX and why Dreamers and Doers? So that is what we're going to be going through today. And this is the thing. This is the beginning of something amazing. For those who are already part of the ImagineX community, you are very, very welcome. And for those who are our diaspora friends, you are also very welcome. And our international friends as well, you are very welcome. Pretty much ImagineX is based on the African narrative in regards to business, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And that's pretty much what, we're going to go through the lens of Africa in general. And so, but if you are here to be truly inspired, you are absolutely welcome. Just know that we are really going to hone in on Africa and how to best serve that specific community. So, yeah. Let's start with ImagineX, or maybe let's start with me. Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with me. My name is David Irambona, and pretty much I have been very, very honored to be able to start basically it's a community kind of program or community project where I'm trying to get entrepreneurs and leaders from across Africa to be trained, to be coached, and to kind of create a community around that. And so this podcast is pretty much what is the beginning of some of that. We've done already some online seminars, and we're actually launching in Tanzania first. That is the awesome thing about this. We're launching in Tanzania first, but then we'll pretty much go across all over Africa. But for now, let's just have the African conversation right here, right now. But the community at the moment, it's in Tanzania. But yeah, so I've been honored to do that. It's been a dream of mine for the last 2 years. And it took a while for me to kind of just, get started. And, there was so many things around that kind of delayed what that process was. But I'm excited to actually even be here. A little bit more about myself. I'm married. I've got a beautiful wife. Her name is Etida. I'm personally from Burundi, and my wife is from Zimbabwe. And we are going to be creating some Pan-African children. So that they're going to be confused as to where they really fit in. But truly, I love my Pan-African friends who truly believe that a united Africa would be a very huge benefit. So my children are going to feel like they're actually the OG Pan-Africans because they're not either Burundian or Zimbabwean. They're just African, which is amazing. So I'm from Burundi, grew up in Tanzania in a refugee camp. So I'm a ex-refugee, born in Burundi, pretty much grew up in the refugee camp in Tanzania. But then my family came over to Australia, and that's where I'm based. In Australia, I've been here for over 20 years, and I'm so excited to be living in this country, but also my heart is still back at home. I came here as a little 8-year-old, but for some reason, my heart is stirred for the continent of Africa in many, many different ways, whether it's through my faith or whether it's just business and all of that. The other question I'll probably answer you is, why me? That's a question that I ask myself as well. Now, I have been in business for the last 10 years, And one of the reasons why it's taken me 2 years to be able to even be here is because I wondered to myself, who am I to even start this conversation? Who am I to start this? I've had so many failed businesses, and that's just the reality of my journey the past 10 years. I've had so many failed businesses. I've learned so much. And one thing I learned is that, you know what? I think I might have a little bit of credibility, even in the fact that I've kind of failed in so many areas, that I'm able to talk to the person who is where I am and be like, hey, this is the way to go. I made that mistake and this was the result. And so I think until I got myself to a place where I'm like, I do have a little bit of credibility. I don't think I am well adversed. I don't think there's certain conversation I could probably have. I can't talk to millionaire businesses at this current stage. But I can kind of walk the journey to everybody who has been where I am, or even some of the principles that I've learned along the way. And here's the truth. Even in doing this right now, even in my future business ventures, I am continuously learning. And one thing I remember about myself growing up is that I've always started something before I was really good at it. And I think that's one of the things that got me into business in the first place. I would say, hey, let me do your website. And I didn't even know how to use WordPress or anything, but I just went for it and did it. And I surprised myself. That's the amazing thing about the human mind, is that you surprise yourself if you give it a go. Some of the things that you may have delayed doing may be because, you've got limiting beliefs that are there, but see what happens when you give it a go. See what happens. And that's what happened with me. So I just started doing something, and then I found out, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. One perfect example in my life has been how I have been a gap filler in the church world. So I'm a Christian. I grew up in church, and I've managed to learn every single instrument. But it wasn't because I am this talented person, but every single time there'll be a gap that needs to be filled, I'll put up my hand, and then the moment I just sat down at that instrument or done whatever that thing was, I surprised myself. I surprised myself that I could actually do it, or I had a bit of rhythm, or I had a bit of understanding somewhere. Oh my goodness, maybe if I took a few more lessons with this, I might actually be okay and actually serve this church. So that's how I managed to really do everything that I've done up to this point. And so even with ImagineX, it's not that I am the most qualified person to be able to start a movement like I have started. But here's the thing: I've done a few seminars for ImagineX to this point. I've had people joining with these seminars who are already running amazing businesses, who are already running amazing NGOs and organizations, and I look at the Zoom meeting and I'm like, you guys could probably teach me one or two things. But I spoke to one of my pastors about it, and then he said, you know what, David, you're the one who invited them to that platform. So doesn't matter whether they could teach you a few one or two. You started this, so go on and teach. So that's what I did, and even right now, that's what I'm doing. I think I might be the least qualified, but here we are. I am giving it a go, and I do surprise myself sometimes. Maybe I have one or two things to say. So yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about me. Let me tell you a little bit about ImagineX. Now, ImagineX really was birthed when I went to Tanzania about 2 years ago. For the first time, it was my very first Africa trip ever since I left Africa. So it had been almost 20 years before I had gone to Africa. Very, very first time. Man, I was so surprised by so many different things. I remember we landed in Ethiopia, and man, I realized how much I was so whitewashed. Getting on that airport in Ethiopia and seeing so many, like all the different facets of what is Africa. Seeing all the different people from across the continent or even across the world in that airport, I was so inspired. And I know this may sound crazy, but I started thinking to myself, oh my goodness. So this is what Africa really, really feels like, because, you grow up and you see all those documentaries of Africa and the narrative that Africa has been portrayed. I'm actually realizing how much I'm saying so bear with me. This is my first episode and I'm going to get better and better. You will not hear one single but let's continue. So I realized how much we had been, there was a narrative about Africa that I had seen for so long, up to a point, and I'm embarrassed to even say this right now, up to a point where I was like, wait, so you're telling me that the people who are the pilots of this plane are all Africans? Like, I know that sounds crazy and embarrassing, and I'm even embarrassed to say it, but I genuinely did ask that question, and I had to repent of even that because that's ridiculous. And I know a lot of people in the diaspora do think like that at times, where you think, Africans, can't really do much, or that whole narrative that we see on TV is just poverty, lack and all of that. But I am telling you, Africa, I spoke to a friend of mine here in Adelaide who's running amazing projects in Africa. And they told me that they have traveled to over 30 countries. But the African countries are the most entrepreneurial countries in the world. And I had first-hand experience with that when I went there. That is what sparked ImagineX, because I went to Tanzania and I looked around. I'm like, man, this city is way more beautiful than my home city in Australia. And I would meet people and they would introduce themselves, and you ask them, what do you do? They would say, I'm an entrepreneur. Like almost every single young person that I met, they would say, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And when when I went to Tanzania, it was originally for a little business venture that I was going to embark on in the real estate space. But then I'm like, I spoke to my PA at the time, and then I said, look, I'm here for real estate, but there is something here that I need to tap into, and it is these young people who are on fire for entrepreneurship and actually making a change in this country. And so I kind of not just put my real estate venture on hold, but I said I need to kind of plan something that will, even if I start doing this real estate thing, it will come out of that itself. So I decided to start ImagineX and be like, look, I need to create a community, because that's one thing that I saw that was missing. First of all, the awareness and the training. I would meet people and say, okay, what do you do? I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, what do you do? I run a little boutique shop, or I've got a some clothing thing here. I've got a little boutique pharmacy. There's little boutique hustles and whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's amazing. But my understanding about entrepreneurship is that an entrepreneur, or anybody who wants to make real money, you need to solve a problem. You need to be an answer to a problem. When you do that, that's how you make the most money. But if you just want to continue to hustle and live day to day just hustling, you can do that. But a real entrepreneur is somebody who solves an answer to a problem. And some of that requires training. Some of that requires inspiration. Some of that requires coaching. So I'm like, you know what? Let's start a community. Let's start a community where we'll get all of these people who are passionate about leadership and entrepreneurship. Let us inspire them, let us train them, let us coach them, and let's build community around them, and then build something with this. So that's what we did. And we are running seminars almost every single fortnight, bringing people in. And we're almost at the end point of launching our community platform that we've built. And so that's what ImagineX is really. And let me tell you something. And this is the very first episode, year 1. We haven't even been running for 2 months. But let me tell you what the end goal vision is. And I'll tell you why me sharing this with you matters. Because I could keep it to myself, because it is a bold vision. Let me tell you what the vision is first. So the goal and the vision of ImagineX is to raise 1 million entrepreneurs and leaders across all of Africa by 2040. That is 15 years from now. That is what our vision is. And I know anybody who knows me, anybody who knows David Irambona, knows that I'm a radical faith guy. I go for crazy goals. I go for crazy faith. And there's a reason to that. I could keep all of that to myself and be like, okay, that's my little internal thing. But let me tell you, I really do believe that this is possible. I really do believe that Africa is going to rise. I do believe that we're going to reach all of those people. There's ways to measure what that even means and what that even looks like. We've got plans and strategies and systems to kind of figure out what that even means. In the future episodes, we'll be able to kind of lay all that out for you. But that is my crazy goal. We want to raise 1 million. So I think I forgot what the numbers are. Let me actually have a look. What the population of Africa is. I should know this number on top of my head. There is, by mid 2025, there is 1.5 billion people in Africa. So, and let's say there was just 1 billion. 1 million is pretty much 1%. So we're hoping to reach 1% of the African population and train them. What that basically means, they're going to go through our program one way or another. That is what that basically means. So we're not necessarily creating 1 million millionaires and billionaires. We're going to inspire and raise people to believe again. We're going to inspire and raise people to dream and actually execute those dreams and actually change the narrative and the story of Africa. And so that's what that pretty much means. And I'm very, very excited. And we're going to be able to do it. We're going to be able to do it because you're watching this. We're going to be able to do it because I believe that the market is there and we just need to tap into that market. I do believe that, and also Africa has the highest percentage of young people as well. So that's another whole thing. So it's not just the little vision is not just me throwing a rock into the sea and seeing what happens. It's actual calculated. Those numbers are very calculated because I believe the market is there and the fire is there. Everybody's ready to go. And let me tell you why it's possible. There's so many reasons I could give you, but this is one of the reasons why I think it's possible. Compared to somewhere like Australia. It's possible in Africa because in general, a lot of people may have nothing to work with. And when you have nothing to work with, it's easier to have that entrepreneurial spirit because you have nothing to lose. Now in Australia, because you have everything, you've got all the support, you've got money, you've got, all of that. I'm not saying that every Australian has money, but I'm just saying that there are so many things that kind of support you, like Centrelink and you get, there's so many benefits that the government can give you, even if you're struggling. That's what I mean by that. You've got everything, but It's harder to take risks when you got everything. But you have everything, but you think you got nothing to lose. I mean, you have everything, but you have everything, but you think you have nothing. So that's the issue with Australia and the Western culture. By the way, I'm talking to my African brothers and sisters, and those who are in the diaspora and those who are in the, in the international space. So I'm allowed to say these things, okay? And I do believe it's not about, I live in the West, so it's not about the West versus Africa. It's really about, that connection. But you got to just analyze these things. So the West have everything, but they think they have nothing. So when you have that kind of mindset, it's harder to take risks because you think that you have everything to lose. So you don't take risks. So that's the thing about Africa. So I think Africa is able to make it because almost every second person you would meet in anywhere in Africa would say, I want to give something a go. I want to give something a go. So I believe we can find 1 million people in Africa who we can train, who we can coach, and we can build a community around. So that's what ImagineX is. I've got a few more moments to kind of just share with you about this podcast so you can kind of understand why I have started this podcast. First of all, is to be able to talk to all my people who are part of the ImagineX Africa movement and community. Got to chat to them and kind of inspire them and continue to give them some sort of encouragement and hope and whatnot, and just stay connected with everybody. But the other reason is in the very name of this podcast, Dreamers and Doers. Let me ask you a question. What do you think you are? Do you think that you're a dreamer, or do you believe that you are a doer? What's the difference? A dreamer is somebody who's kind of like a visionary. A dreamer is a visionary, somebody who thinks ahead, somebody who has a dream, who has plans, who's able to write down all the plans and put it all together and have a vision and put it all together. But they struggle to execute. But a doer is really good at executing. They'll start this new business here today and start another one here tomorrow and whatnot. But the problem with the doer is that they often find themselves stuck because they don't know why they're running. So let me ask you again, what do you think you are? Do you think that you are a dreamer? Are you more of a dreamer, or are you more of a doer? And this podcast is about, first of all, getting the dreamers to do and getting the doers to dream. That is what pretty much, or everything we're going to be talking about. We're going to be helping you and understanding that whether you're a dreamer, whether you're a doer, the key thing is that you strengthen both. And that's how you're going to be successful. All right? Because in Africa, we've got a lot of dreamers. And I know we have a lot of doers. And those doers are the hustlers. But being able to strengthen the weaker end of who you are. So if you're a dreamer, the weaker end of who you are is the doing part. So my goal is to strengthen that part that you're weak at. And if you're a dreamer, my goal is to strengthen the part of the dreamer. So we are here to inspire you, to encourage you, so that you can be every single thing that you were created to be. And help yourself, help your family, and help your community, and help your nation. Because that's what pretty much we are all about here at ImagineX. And this podcast will be pretty much that. It will just be me just having a chat with you. I might be able to get some guests, but for now, I'm not really thinking that much ahead. I'm just here to talk to you. I'm just here to inspire you. But yeah, that's pretty much who we are. That's who I am. That's what ImagineX is, and that's what this very podcast is. And I'm very, very excited about this. Make sure you let me know, like, what is it that you need help in. That, what topics can we talk about, and what are some things that we can kind of share together. I'm not an expert in any way, but I think I'm pretty good at having a conversation. I think I'm good at starting a conversation. I'm good at kind of giving you my 2 cents and getting you to think a little bit. I was actually telling my wife after one of our seminars that I did, and I'm like, man, I think I'm pretty good at this. Not necessarily out of pride, but I'm like, I think I'm okay. I think I'm able to start these conversations. I'm pretty good at that. I don't think I know it all. I don't think I know everything, but I think I'm pretty good at starting conversations. And so that's who we are. That's who I am. And yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. And I hope you'll be able to join in and help us make this happen. I'm really, really excited. You don't know how excited I am. And by the way, make sure if you're here, if you're listening, to be able to kind of help us with this journey, make sure you subscribe. And make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you share. If you got people in the diaspora, hey, diaspora friends, and I'm sure you know what diaspora means, but my diaspora friends, please let us connect. Let us connect. I'm hoping to create something for you guys. Maybe even build a community around those in the diaspora so we can inspire them to make change in Africa. I hope we can be able to do that. I've had that in my heart ever since we started with Tanzania. Probably what I might have to do first before we even launch a new country is that we have a chat with the diaspora guys and see, hey, how can we connect? How can we build a community around you wherever you are in the world? If you are an African anywhere in the world, how we can get together and talk about how to make change. And here's the thing for me. I've been in so many forums. I'm telling you, I've been even in those Pan-African forums. I've been in seminars, online seminars. Even professors and doctors that I respect in the Pan-African world, but and I have nothing to criticize about them. But here's the truth. We can be really, really, really good at talking. We can be really, really good at discussing the issues of Africa. We can be really, really, really good at discussing what's wrong with the way things are running. And also we can be really, really good at dreaming. That's one of the reasons why I call this podcast the Dreamers and Doers, because we got to stop dreaming. No, not stop dreaming. We got to stop just dreaming. But how can we get to a point where we just do? So I've been in so many forums, but we just talk. What excites me the most is when I see those movements, run projects and do something. And for me, I'm not a talker much. This podcast will be pretty much the only time I'll get to just yap. This will be the only time that I'll just get to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But I am telling you, behind the scenes we're doing something. Behind the scenes we are training people. Behind the scenes we are coaching people. Behind the scenes we are building forums and communities. Behind the scenes we are investing into businesses. Behind the scenes we are investing into people and seeing them thrive. So this podcast is pretty much my chance for me to just talk and talk and talk and talk, and you'll be able to hear my heart on what I think about certain issues. But it's time to just stop talking, and it's time to just stop having a plan, but actually execute that plan. That's why I'm excited about this name. I hope you can join me in becoming a dreamer and a doer. I hope you can join me. I am very, very, very excited. And I know whether you are in the diaspora, whether you are in Africa, or whether you are an international friend. Let me explain those labels. Those are labels that I've kind of like created to help me kind of categorize people in a sense. So you've got my African friends, those who are in Africa, but also you've got those in the diaspora. Those in the diaspora, those Africans who were born in Africa, or the descendants of Africans who are outside of Africa, in the West or anywhere in the world. And my international friends, let me tell you who my international friends are. My international friends are those people who are not African, but are really passionate about Africa and seeing Africa thrive. I read a book. I think it's right here. Where is it? Where's the book? There's a book. There's a book that I read. It's called Africa to the Rest. I forgot who the author is, but he's a guy from Ghana. Africa to the Rest, and it really talks about how because of certain amazing statistics about Africa, that if we were in the diaspora or in the international community, we'll be able to invest our time and invest our energy and our resources in Africa. There will be something that would happen from Africa as a hub and really serve the rest of the world. Whether it's technology, whether it's business, whether it's education, there is so much that Africa has to offer that I think that we are missing out on. So yeah, Africa to the Rest. I'll double check that book and maybe put it in the description for you to have a look. But yeah, I'm all about the talk. I'm all about the action instead of the talk. I'm good to talk. I want to talk, and I've had so many conversations with so many different people about what's happening in Africa and how we can serve Africa and what the issues of Africa. And I've been to a few African countries, and look, yeah, there's some issues there. But in order for us to think beyond that, we have to be problem solvers. My very first seminar was about finding your why. And I spoke about the difference between a builder and a critic. Now, a builder and the critic, they are passionate about the same thing. I'll give you an example. You've got the chef and you've got the food critic. They're both truly passionate about food. You've got your pastor and you've got your church critic, somebody who goes on YouTube and criticizes the church. Both are passionate about the same thing. But the only difference is, what are you going to do? Are you going to be a builder, or are you just going to be complaining about the very thing that you're truly passionate about? There's a deep passion that both the chef and the food critic has. And that is, oh my goodness, I love food so much. And the one who chooses to cook is the builder. And the one that chooses to complain is the critic. So which one are you going to be? So that's why for me, the podcast is just for me to talk. But even our talk is about the balance of both. It's about, what do we dream of happening in Africa? What's the dream? But also, what is it that we need to execute right now to make that dream a reality? What is it that we need to do? I was telling my community the other day when I was doing another seminar about the tension between the dreamer and the doer. And I was telling them, sometimes when you feel stuck, in any country or anywhere in your life where you feel stuck, if you feel stuck and you've hit a wall, there's two things that you need to do. You need to take a self-inventory on or even on the situation, whether your dreamer has died or whether your doer has died. If your dreamer has died, it means that you need to dream again. You're feeling stuck and your dreamer has died, you need to dream again. Maybe that may be a word for some of you guys who's listening to this podcast. Dream again. Dream again. Have a fresh vision. Have a fresh dream. Have a fresh new idea. And when you dream again, you push through that wall. When you examine yourself and you find out that your dreamer has died. And the other thing is, has your doer died? You've hit a brick wall. So you double check, has your doer died? Have you stopped executing? Have you stopped doing? Have you stopped paying for those ads? Have you stopped running? Have you let apathy come in the way? Apathy is the biggest killer of your progress. Just everything is just ordinary. You're so used to it. You're just familiar. Everything is normal and you're no longer growing. You might be at a really, really good place right now. Maybe making $1 million a year. But there's apathy there. You've hit a wall. And if your dreamer has died, dream again. That's how you're going to start going up again. If your doer has died, start executing. Start doing the things that you're procrastinating on. I hope somebody's listening to this and being inspired and being challenged and being encouraged. If your dreamer has died, dream again. If your doer has died, start executing. Start doing. Start putting that plan that you had into action. Yeah, it's time. Any issue in Africa, it's either the dream has died or you stopped doing. Whatever it is. And let's stop just complaining about the government. The government is not the answer to everything. There are certain things, of course, in culture and in society that the government really, it takes the government to execute certain things and certain policies that really has a massive effect on the country's culture, on the country's systems and whatnot. Absolutely. But what happens in parliament that shouldn't affect your life? What happens in parliament shouldn't affect the way you run your business. What happens in government shouldn't be the guide to whether you succeed or not. Pick any country. Pick any country in Africa. No matter how much corruption there is, there's still those who succeed. And let's stop talking about the whole, it must have been corruption for them. No. There are people who are genuinely succeeding in those spaces where you call the wrong government. You're waiting for the right government to come in. If only so-and-so was elected. If only a certain party was elected. Or if only that dictator left. No. No. It's either your dreamer has died or your doer has died. It's either you're no longer dreaming or you're no longer executing your dream. That's all. It's that simple. And if you start doing that, see what will happen in your life. See what will happen in your business. See what will happen in your family. Yeah. There's so many things that stop us. It's the government or it's my gender. It's so hard being a woman nowadays. Or it's so hard being a man. Or it's so hard being white in an African country. It's so hard being black in this country. Or it's so hard living in a country that's not your own. For those who maybe, let's say, Burundians living in Tanzania, or Tanzanians living in South Africa, or whatever. There's so many reasons that may stop you. But before you ever give up, do a self-inventory on whether your dreamer is still alive or your doer is still alive. And once you do that, everything else, let them deal with whatever they need to deal with. There will never be a right government for you. There will never be a right environment. There will never be a right setting where everything is so perfect and it works for your favor, for your, works for you. It will never happen. There are people who are still successful in the midst of every single thing that may stop them. Yeah. I think that's something that you may hear me say a lot of times. Dream again. Start executing again. Yeah. I hope you can do that. I hope you can do that. And here's the thing. One thing that I'll tell you that will also help you as well. You will never be able to do it alone. You will never be able to do it alone. I do not care. I'm kind of in the process of doing a partnership with another organization, on some of these ventures. And I remember there was a question that was asked whether, I'm doing this thing alone or, I'll be partnering with other organizations. And I said, look, yeah, I'm doing it alone to begin with, in a sense. I think it's called Greenfields. Yes, Greenfields at the beginning, because you're just starting out. You don't know who you know. You don't know who you don't know yet. So you're building relationships. Yes, it's Greenfields at the beginning, but then we're hoping to kind of build relationships so we can. Because I know that there's no way we're going to be able to achieve this. That's why straight away, first month, I'm already trying to connect with other organizations to connect with them. So you will never be able to do it alone. Whatever it is, you won't do it alone. That is why ImagineX is built around a community. I feel like Africa is really good at community because we're the ones who are really good at the village life, and that's in general society. But when it comes to business and building something, can we keep that mindset? Is that okay for us to keep that mindset of the village mindset where we're all in this together? I help you, you help me. There is no such thing as competition. Now, if you walk hand in hand with somebody who's better than you, you are going to be better for it. Jealousy is what will kill you. Oh, he's better than me. No. The fact that he's better than you, yes, walk with them. Because you will be better for it if you walk with somebody who is better than you. Always. You never lose by connecting in with somebody who's better than you. So community is a very, very big thing. So that's why with ImagineX, hey, if you are in the diaspora, I don't know, I'm not really good at sales, and this may sound a bit salesy, but here's the reality. Those who are in the diaspora, I know some of you want to do something great for Africa. You want to figure out a way. Maybe you've gone around and you've been discouraged by what people have said. Hey, build a community. And I think the ImagineX community is the perfect community for you. So reach out to me. If you're in the comment section, reach out. However you want to reach out. I think our email will be there. I think it's hello@imaginex.africa. Please reach out. I would love to be able. Maybe here's what I'll do. I'll put a link in the description for those in the diaspora who want to join the diaspora community. I'll do it like an interest form to see how many people want to be able to be part of that. Because I really believe if we build a community around those who are in the diaspora, who have a heart to see something amazing done in Africa, man, amazing things will happen, because you cannot do it alone. I cannot do it alone. I also need you. That's why I want to build a community with you. All right? And I think my community or our community is one of the best communities that you will ever join, because we have the same heart, and we're not about competition. We're about lifting each other up. So if you're in the diaspora, link in. But also if you are in Africa, join our community. At the moment, we are only established in Tanzania. But if you are in another country, anywhere else in Africa, I'll keep links in the description of like interest forms for those other countries who are interested in us establishing a branch, so to speak, in any other countries. If we have enough people, we'll be able to be like, you know what, there's a deep interest here, so let's go to this country as well. So yeah, that is our heart. We really want to see Africa succeed, and we want to be practical about it. We don't just want to talk about it. We want to raise up people, because it's not going to be the government that's going to do it. It's not going to be those millionaires that you see up there thinking, oh, why aren't they doing something? No. It is us. It is every single individual. It is every single individual solving problems, doing something amazing in their own communities. There are some untapped regions and rural areas all across Africa that if we find one person or a few people who are able to solve problems in their own region, that would be amazing. My goal is to find those people and train them and coach them and build a community around them that supports them, so that we can see amazing things happen. Not because David did it. No. Because the people in their own countries did it. They built something. They innovated. All right? So, man, I could talk forever. I could talk all day. But I'm going to end it here. Why don't you join our community so we can talk a bit more about this? I would love for you to be part of our seminars that we'll be doing. If you're in the diaspora, again, I plead you. I would love to do something with you guys and, get a forum happening so that we can start executing some things. Start dreaming and also executing. Yeah. We got to do both. We got to do both. Anyways, that is pretty much it for today. On this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed our time together, and I hope you continue to listen in. We'll be coming together every single Monday with this podcast. Every single Monday we'll be coming together and sharing a few things. I'm so excited. I'm really, really, really excited. Something amazing is about to happen, and I'm so glad that you're gonna walk on that journey with us. I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. So why not get together? Why not build community? I think you can count how many times I've said community. And yeah, anyways. Well, my name is David Irambona, and I am your friend. And I'm so glad that we get to do this together. So, here's my question. Are you a dreamer or are you a doer? Or maybe you may have to consider doing both. See you next time.